Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June, not January, June 22nd ASCC meeting. We had 2 site visits this afternoon. And so we're going to start off with the first one, tonight. But so can we take attendance? Shall we roll call, whatever it's called?
Commissioner Dillon?
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Here.
Commissioner War is absent. Vice Chair Dixon?
Here.
Chair Breen?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Good. And so we got to take public comment for things not on tonight's agenda, and we can't take action on it, but we can listen. And so is there anyone here or anyone online? Please come up. If it's not on the agenda, right? All right, good.
My name is Bart Dolmack. This is my wife, Cindy. We live at 16 Santa Maria Avenue here in Portola Valley. And we have some concerns regarding the immediate adjacent single home construction project at 42 Santa Maria Avenue, right uphill from us. You may recall, if you've been around for a while, that 16 and 42 Santa Maria sustained a landslide in 1998. And that damaged and red tagged both of the homes on those properties. Both lots were purchased many years later by Tom Byland, who remediated the hillside and obtained approval from Portola Valley to allow construction of a new home on each of the 2 lots. When we built our home, Portola Valley limited our 100% adjusted maximum floor area, including a mandatory 2-car garage, to 2,480 square feet, citing safety concerns for any larger of a home. The same restriction was placed on any future home that would be built at 42 Santa Maria. However, the approved home design for 42 Santa Maria has nearly 2,000 square feet of living space on the first floor, a garage of 475 square feet, and an attached second floor ADU of almost 800 square feet, which brings the floor space to more than 3,200 square feet, or approximately 700 square feet more than the 100% allowed AMFA. The town approved this, so what's done is done. But recently, the owner of 42 Santa Maria told one of our neighbors that he plans to ask the town for permission to enlarge the second floor ADU and perhaps add a basement. Tom Byland confirmed that his son, Ben, who is an architect who designed the home, is working on revisions to the design of the house. While we realize that there has not been a formal application for modification of the approved building plan, we are concerned about the size of the home. We discussed this with Jamie Bourne, the outside consultant for 42 Santa Maria. She informed us that it may be possible to increase the size of the ADU through a ministerial process via the SB 9 pathway, bypassing the ASCC and public review. If the owner of 42 Santa Maria was to add another 400 square feet, the home would have a floor area of about 3,600 square feet, far exceeding the AMFA of 2,480 square feet. We believe this poses a safety risk to the hillside and specifically to our home and property. We would like to go on record with the following requests. 1, no expansion of the attached second floor ADU unless the 100% allowable AMFA of the entire home ADU structure remains the same as the most recent plan. Number 2, the request to modify the foundation or add or modify a basement should go through a complete engineering analysis for safety of the structure and the hillside. And number 3, we and the adjacent neighbors within 300 square feet of 42 Santa Maria Avenue should be informed of any request to alter the previously approved building plan and have the opportunity for public comment before any issuance of approval by the town. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, we can't comment on it, but it's good that you came in and made your comments.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody online? Anybody else in the room? No?
No one online.
No one online. Okay, so we will proceed with the agenda. And you guys going to present the first one? Okay.
right, 1 second. There we go. All right. Hello, my name is Max Mendenhall. I'm a town consultant planner. And I am doing a presentation on an architectural review of a residential renovation and rebuild of an existing two-story single-family residence at 25 Twirl Court. File number PLN ARCH 05-2026. So here's a quick view of the vicinity around. So it's on Twirl Court, all the way at the end of the cul-de-sac, surrounded by Golden Oak properties, as well as Adair Lane on the other side. Here's a picture of the current site plan right now with existing 4,956 square foot for the house. And this currently bypasses the 85% rule from the previous renovation. But the current applicants are going to be applying for the exemption pursuant through 18.48.020, where the ASCC can approve the bypass of the 85% rule. Proposed footprint for the plan. And here's the proposed site plan. There will be 5,376 square feet for the house, and it will be a 5-bedroom, 4-bath. And there's also some trees proposed for removal. They're all coastal sequoias that have been affected by the drought. So there was an arborist report done for the property that approved these removals of the trees and proposed it. Here is the first elevation for proposing of the front of the house. And here's the next one. This is the back side of the house. Sorry.
Isn't that existing?
Not proposed. Apologize. Here's the northwest side, the rear of the property. And here's the last elevation, southeast side. Northwest. And now this is the proposed of the front of the house. As you can see, there's some change of material. They added on the right side of the property over here. And they are going to be raising the height around 6 inches, but keeping it 1 story from ground level. And here's the southwest side. Northwest. And the southeast. And here's the material list. So they're going with a medium gray stucco. And then for the roof, they're doing a charcoal gray color and trim, aluminum trim, as well as copper trim, cement panels for the siding, as well as a terracotta rain screen. And all these are under the LRVs, the maximum LRVs. And here's proposed lighting. They're going to have a couple path lights as well as putting some wall lights just to make it accessible and easy to see when walking around at night. And public notice was mailed on June 12th, 2026, within a 300-foot radius of the site. The homeowner also conducted their own neighbor outreach for the project and has received multiple supportive comments. And one comment just mentioning the trees being removed, but Conservation Committee also reviewed this project and agreed with the tree removal. And staff recommends that the ASCC approve the architectural review for the renovation and site improvements subject to the conditions of approval in the staff report. Any questions?
Questions from commissioners?
Could you go?
Want architect to come up and join? Do you have anything that you want to add? Just have to talk louder here.
Okay, how's that? Great. My name's Eric Kramer. I'm the architect on the project. My clients have purchased this house about 9 months ago now with the intent of moving to Portola Valley and aging in place here. And they have worked in the community for quite some time. They really admire the place. They love the environment of it. And we have tried to distill that through our own filter into our architecture. We realize that the house is larger than what was there before, but we've tried to keep it a responsible size and volume. And we think that the architecture we've created is using a material palette and a general overall design that really respects the surrounding environment, and works with the limited lot size that we are given, which is part of the reason why we are requesting the 100% waiver of AMFA, or waiver of the 85% limit of AMFA, given that it is a large site, but very little of it is buildable. We think that based on the conditions that we have and the amount of work we've done with Max to respect the town planning rules and bring the new design of the house into coherence with current code and setbacks. We're trying to check all the boxes here and still make some beautiful architecture that respects the palette of the town.
Are there questions from the commissioners to the team?
Sorry, keep on forgetting. As you're removing the redwoods, what's getting planted?
There's currently not a plan for what replaces them. We really think, the clients purchased the building and the lot based on the feeling of the lot as a whole. And that truly does have a forested vibe to it. It's, we think, kind of a shame to find out that all of the redwoods that are creating this composure of the space are not healthy and soon to perish by arborist recommendation. So for the sake of privacy and an overall positive feeling of the natural environment, we want to replace them with trees that will grow large and healthy. Certainly, the client has mentioned oaks multiple times, but whether we can get those to grow in a period of time that would be valuable for the site or the community remains to be seen.
Just wanted to take into account the concern of the neighbors who were worried about losing that feeling
Yeah,
of wilderness.
we absolutely respect that. And we have the same desire. We don't want to create a bald site with a home on top of it on this ridge. So we see the value of the trees and we absolutely see the value of replacing them. And in every discussion that I've had with clients, they've said, if we're going to remove, then we find something to replace.
Okay. Well, we may need to take another look at it, because it's going to change the site so considerably.
Yeah.
That we may need to take a look at a landscape plan after the fact, but we'll see how all the other commissioners comment on it.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right,
Max, could you pull the drawing that showed the exterior lights? Please.
yeah.
I missed that in my earlier review. Ooh, red would be the wall sconce. Okay.
And the path light in your view, is that what you want to do? You want to put those path lights there?
We'd like to make it easy to get into the site at night. We have no intention of blasting this home with light by any means. We respect the night sky and the feeling of a darker natural environment at night. It's mostly just there to accent entry to the home and augment your ability to approach. That's really all there is to it.
Okay, thank you.
I had one other question. In some of our other past projects that were perched on ridge lines, we've asked to investigate window treatment so that we're not radiating light off the ridge line. And I think that new corner in this project, southwest corner,
Mhm.
going to be perched pretty close to the edge. And I think that looks like there's windows exposed down there's probably a treatment we could do that we don't see a beacon on the hill.
That makes a lot of sense. Is the concern light glare at night or sunlight reflection?
Well, I think light glare at night, because that happens every night.
Yeah.
Sunlight reflection is typically just a short window as the sun
Mhm.
moves through its annual cycle.
Yep. I will say that is the guest wing of the house. There are also, as you may have seen on site, there's a lot of dense oak planting right there at and above the
Okay.
elevation of those windows. Would your concern be for a treatment of the window or of a screening or?
If there's a non-intrusive way to
Mhm.
maybe treat the window, investigate that, but
Okay.
I don't want to eliminate the view because that's a strong feature of the project.
Sounds good.
And I'm glad to hear you talk about dark sky and lighting, because I was going to sort of admonish you that if you're taking down a lot of trees, you may not light trees in Portola Valley,
Yeah.
up or down.
Yeah.
So darkness is a good thing.
Yep.
Very elegant. Okay, so should we take public comment on this? Are there any comments online?
Not online.
Not online. Anybody in the room here to talk about this one? No? Okay, so then let's go to the commissioners. Hear what everyone has to say. And will you start us off?
Absolutely.
Good.
I like the project. I think it's a challenging piece of property, but it has rewards, and I think you've approached it with a thoughtful way to update the house and utilize the setting. I think the owners, the neighbors are getting the best of kind of the design envelope that's presented. Thank you.
Hey, Gina?
I agree with Lance. I think it's a really nice project. The volume feels nice on the property. It was helpful to see the story poles and just get a feel for, how the house is going to sit. It's a really beautiful site. And so having a house that takes advantage of the view makes sense there. I agree with the tree removals. And just, recommend talking with the neighbors about the screening. And maybe there's a plan there that can work out nicely. And it's probably worth just talking with Woodside Fire, just when thinking about the tree replacements. I mean, in a lot of ways, you're fortunate that these redwoods are going away and from a fire safety perspective. And so just being conscious of, where if you're going to put new vegetation in, kind of where it sits. And anyway, they may have some good feedback for that to not create a fire ladder. But yeah, I think it's really nice and thoughtful.
Thank you. Sonia?
Yes, I very much like the project, like everybody else here. And the way by the lines, that the way you have drawn it, not only it reduces the feeling of big volume, but also you captured all the angles from the backside. So that's very beautiful. And just to be and yes, the redwoods need to be removed, but I'm equally concerned about that the colors of the exteriors are lighter than the darker brown, and the trees being removed, it might create a little bit of a shocking impact for the neighbors. So that needs to be looked into carefully.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great project. Luckily, I've already been there once before, to talk with the architect. I agree with the 85% thing. I think that's one of the most important decisions about this project, so that you're putting all the square footage in one building. The tree removal, I think it's going to change, obviously. I mean, the expression of everything on this site. And so I think a landscape plan needs to come back to maybe two of us, just so that we can look at what happens after the trees are removed. And I feel, and I'll give you the name of some really good arborists, I mean, people who prune beautifully, because that's what you want to have happen in front of you. You know, other than that, I mean, I think it's great. Was looking forward to seeing maybe even where the Adobe, is it Adobe you're using? No, terracotta and copper, you know, just so that there's enough of that to break up the patterning of the other siding. And I'll be really interested to see what happens with your landscape plan, you know, because you also got a massive root system there, you know, with that, with the pine. And that's really going to change a lot of things in front. You may even need a new driveway, you know, once you get into the root systems.
Well, in the conservation report, the conservation committee letter, they also suggested not removing several of the redwoods out in front of the house at the street. They said maybe 3 of them, the 3 closest to the house, should be removed, but to leave some of that grove at the front as well. And so I think it's kind of a further discussion, right, as to what makes sense with the neighbors, with the client, with an arborist, right, and the one who is doing the work, and whether they put in the money and the water to try and keep those trees alive out there, or whether it makes sense to replace them as well.
They're also finding that there are better results from misting redwoods rather than watering them. So, but I mean, I'm certainly, I don't know how you guys feel, open to retaining a few of those in that front grove. But all the perimeter trees, they've had it. I mean, they got to come out. Okay, so is there a motion on this project? Someone like to create something?
I'll move we approve as submitted and discussed.
What about a landscape plan?
No, and then a follow-up landscape plan. We'll just do 2 kind of in over the counter informal kind of without a full meeting. Okay.
And then if you guys find that you're going to need further a lot of changes, that's something we need to know about.
No doubt.
Okay. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Is that good enough for, or do you want to do something else? Okay. All right, good. So that, congratulations, and
Thank
I
you.
look forward to hearing about it.
You don't have to strike the gavel for that?
I don't gavel. I'm not a gaveler. Too weird.
All right. Thanks.
All righty then. 501 Wayside is up next. Is the owner here? Yeah. You want to come up as well? Well, sure.
I'd love to.
All right. All right, first we'll have the staff report. All right.
Good evening. The item before you this evening is an architectural review for site development permit for major modifications, a new residence, detached garage, hardscape, landscaping, and insignificant tree removal at 501 Wayside. The project site is a vacant lot. It is a 9-acre parcel within the residential estate 1-acre district on Wayside Road and with Horseshoe Drive underneath. The site is located on a ridgeline with steep topography and contains both stable and potentially unstable soils types. There is an overhead utility easement along portions of the property, and the ASCC previously approved residence and associated site development improvements in 2023, and the property has since been sold to a new owner who is here with us this evening. The site is currently vacant. However, the ASCC, as I mentioned, previously approved an 1,830 square foot single-story residence with a detached carport, associated landscaping that remains consistent with the approved plan, retaining walls, hardscape improvements, and a site development permit. The previously approved residence was located a bit further east on the project site and assumed relocation of the overhead utility facilities located within the eastern pole line easement. Following the project approval, the property was sold to a new owner and the project has, as I mentioned, since been revised. Let's see, before moving to the, well, sorry, I did the proposed site plan. I'm going back. I wanted to note that the primary changes include relocation of the residence, as I mentioned, to west to accommodate the existing overhead utility alignment, resulting in an increase in soil movement with the site development permit. The addition of a 596 square foot second story to the previously approved residence, and the proposed removal of one additional significant tree beyond those previously approved by the ASCC. Now to the proposed site plan. The new revised proposal is for a 2,426 square foot two-story residence and a 500 square foot detached ADU. A second story ADU is proposed above the garage. However, that is not subject to the ASCC we did this evening. The primary changes from the previously approved project have been described, and the project also includes a new driveway, which was previously approved, outdoor porches, retaining walls, landscaping, and associated site improvements. The previously approved landscaping plan is as I mentioned, is generally proposed to remain unchanged. And all proposed development is located within the relatively stable soils, which are SLS type. This slide here depicts it should be the north and the south elevations with comparative views that illustrate the primary changes from the previously approved project. The most notable change is the addition of the 596 square foot story to the previously approved single story residence, increasing the residence from 1,830 square feet to 2,426 square feet. The revised proposal remains below the town's maximum allowable height standards, with a maximum building height of approximately 29 feet 10 inches and a vertical height of approximately 23 feet 10 inches. The second story is concentrated within the central portion of the residence rather than extending across the entire building footprint. This slide depicts the proposed east and west elevations with comparative views of the previously approved project. In addition to the second story addition, which is shown on the previous slide, these elevations illustrate the replacement of the previously approved detached carport with the detached garage. A new breezeway is proposed between the main residence and the garage. Overall, the proposed materials, roof forms, and architectural detailing remain generally consistent to the previously approved design and the rural character of the surrounding neighborhood. Colors and materials are shown here that are being proposed, utilizing a traditional architectural style with natural material palette intended to blend with the surrounding hillside setting. Exterior materials include stucco and natural stone veneer, together with anodized steel gray windows and doors. The residence is topped with a standing seam metal roof, and a detached garage and breezeway utilize the complementary materials and finishes consistent with the main residence. The proposed colors and materials comply with the town's reflectivity standards and natural color palette requirements and LRB values. The revised project proposes removal of 2 significant coast live oaks and 2 non-significant coast live oak trees. Relocation of the residence to accommodate the existing PG and utility alignment allowed 3 previously approved tree removals to be avoided, resulting in a net reduction in tree impacts compared to the previously approved plans. The Conservation Committee supports the removal of tree number 9, which is the newly added tree, and recommended planting 2 or 3 native replacement trees. The applicant agreed that they would incorporate that recommendation. Grading is shown here. The previously approved project included approximately 395 cubic yards of total soil movement. The revised proposal increases grading associated with site development permitting by approximately 75 cubic yards to accommodate relocation of the residents from the existing overhead utility alignment. The all proposed grading remains within the relatively stable SLS soil area, as I mentioned, and no grading is proposed within the PD soils as identified as having significant ground movement potential for downslope ground. The increase in soil movement is a direct result of site constraints associated with the utility easement and revised building location. The revised proposal includes 8 exterior light fixtures. The previous approval included 7. They're the same light fixtures that were previously approved. The 1 additional light fixture is located at the top of the stairs leading into the ADU. And if for any reason an additional fixture, I noticed that the garage doesn't show an exterior light fixture. If that was required for as part of the building review for a door for some reason, then that could be added. But I just want to note that there wasn't one there and there needed to be a fixture. The overall quantities are very low and consistent with the town's lighting ordinance. Public notice was mailed to all owners within a 300-foot radius of the project on June 12th. And the applicant also conducted their own neighbor outreach for the project. To date, no public comments have been received. Staff recommends that the ASCC review and approve the requested architectural and site development review for the new residence with a detached garage, significant tree removals, associated site improvements, and subject to the conditions of approval as listed in attachment 1 of the staff report. Both town staff and the parcel owner are available for questions by the ASCC.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time today at the site visit.
Okay, are there questions from the commissioners? Is your Carter person here? Ah, okay.
So Jamie, the exterior lighting is the same as prior?
No
One
changes.
per door?
Yes. Yes, sorry, I had my microphone off to
It's
answer.
okay.
Yes.
Maybe I'm reading the plans wrong, but looked like there were more than 1 per door.
I believe what those are the receptacles, not a fixture.
Okay.
Plugs.
The plugs, yeah.
And that one fixture that looks like a bell, the light bulb cannot come down underneath that. It's inside. Is that correct?
Correct.
It might be. The print,
In order
the
to comply.
print is very
one.
fine. It's very small. So
I can't see it.
okay, thank you.
Are you done with questions?
I am.
How about you guys? You have questions? Okay, good.
I have a question. I mean, you're dealing with a very difficult site. For the portion of the house that's 2 stories, and this may be a question, is it Frank? Yeah, for Frank. And when you were looking at the massing of that, could you just kind of talk us through how you ended up, feeling like that was the best place for it? Did you guys look at all at maybe, when that second story portion came into play? Did you look at all at changing the floor level of the main house? It feels really large on the property. So I'm just curious, when you're working on this, how are you utilizing the design guidelines to guide you in figuring out the proper massing on this property?
Do you want to come up, architect? Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Frank.
And you might hear better if you go over there. That's a better microphone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Time this evening. It's nice to see you guys again. Testing. All right. Thank you for your time this evening. It's nice to see you guys again and the opportunity to answer any questions. This home, it was critical that we were frequently reminded about it was previously approved. And so there wasn't too much room to, nor were we directed to change things. We were really directed to keep the home as approved. And so what you're seeing on the screen from the left on the uppermost image, I know you can't hear me, but just people follow. Remain the same. And all we did is the envelope that is the office above in the 80s. An existing approved home, and we were given specific instruction to stay with what was already approved. And so the least impact was just to go upward for the ADU and to preserve the approved envelope for the 2 bedrooms in front. So it was about keeping what was approved. We didn't explore adding on to the home in other areas. It was about what's there. It's already been reviewed and approved. And how do we keep it as small and simple? We kept very small conservative plate heights. There's not 10-foot ceilings here. They're very modest at 9 feet. So no, we did not look at redesigning the home to support a different location for the second story. We kept it at the front of the home.
When you're saying you weren't changing it, that's guidance from client or town, or where you, I'm just curious, you were saying they, who's they?
Sorry, it was Michael had purchased the property with intentions to build it quickly, and because of the PG&E so forth, we wanted to represent this project as a least amount of changes. So the direction was from the owner and from our office to not change anything and keep it the way it's been analyzed in the past.
The massing is very different.
That's a valid statement from the right side. It did change. On the left, it's identical. And the footprint of the building is also similar. It's very same. The 2 rooms that were added, we tried to add some stone to mitigate some of the materials. But yes, your comment is correct. There's now a second story above.
But it's the massing right on the driveway, on the street. And to me, the massing is, sorry, guys, it's kind of offensive. And it's like, this is a perfect example of just because you can, doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And further, like the max is 25. We kept it under, and they're allowed to do 2 bedrooms, and we kept it just 1 bedroom. We didn't at all try to maximize. It was about trying to.
The original plan is,
Stick with questions until we're
Sorry.
ready to give comments.
thank you.
But, any other questions?
Just because.
Did that work for you, that answer? Do you want
Yes.
more?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And my question is also on the mass. You are saying that you didn't want it to make a change, but by just changing the feeling, it changes everything once you change the mass. And so my question was why you have chosen to make the floor at the height, so there's many steps to go up
Can you
to
repeat
the
the question?
entrance. the entrance has few steps to go up. So I just want to understand, given we are already concerned about the mass, why you chose to start the first floor at a given height that you
So
chose.
we are trying to eliminate site work and rather minimize site work. So you come in at where the driveway is, and there's a few steps up to the home the way the previously home was approved. So that's always been a feature of the property to go up a few steps into the home.
Just concerned about the height and the mass. I thought you would maybe go with the slope of the house, so you could reduce the feeling of humongousness.
These views are a little difficult because the property is different from all the sides. And so what you're seeing is we wanted to work with the driveway elevation as much as possible to keep it low key and low profile. We didn't do 10-foot ceilings or anything with 9-foot. Everything's really modest. And I do respect what you're saying about it's a different change now. And yeah, there's a second story there.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
You have another question? You have another question? You're fine.
There are probably more comments than questions.
Okay.
So-
All right, so are there no other questions from the commission?
One more question is where the solar panels are. This is the only place because they will be towards other homes, right? That's the only location that works.
So it's on a corner there, and I think all of the homes would, depending which homes, so the ones behind the property would not see them. It is on the downhill side.
Oh, it's
so
on the downhill. I thought it was on the other way around.
the tricky site, I agree with you, but yes, ma'am. So they're only on one face above the 80. Homes behind it would not see that.
Okay, so let's move on to public comments. Are there people in the audience who would like to talk? Come on up. Come on up to the podium.
I'm shy and I hate public speaking, so here we are. First, I'd like to say I was able to meet Mr. Young today. He seems lovely. It would be wonderful to have you as a neighbor. But I think the scope of what has happened in this project is just not in keeping with the neighborhood. And so I have concerns about several things, not the least of which is having a full ADU above the garage that apparently the town will have no say over because the state gets to take that over. And I don't think the state can say you have to build an ADU. So I think you can, it might be more neighborly to say, okay, I'm just going to have a carport then and no ADU because that is that's something that impacts and brings yet another body onto the hill that's not really that stable to begin with. It should probably be noted also that Wayside's infrastructure is neighbor induced. So like we take care of it and not all of it has been properly engineered, et cetera. There are other areas that are that, might not be obvious to the person who is purchasing that lot, but are historical. And then, lastly, I just think a 2-story building right there is it's a lot. That's all. It seems like a very big building for a road where every building is, 1,400 square feet or less. It's just really very large. So, but I like you. It has nothing to do with you. It's not that. And I think you'd be great. I don't love the project as it is. I'd love to scale it back, see it scaled back. And I don't know that I'm alone on that. So I'll let other people speak. Thanks.
Thank you. Other public comment from the room? No? Yes? All right. Getting up.
I'm Gary Reynolds. Live a little bit up the road from where 501 is. I will say that we were pretty much in shock when we saw the story pools go up. Never seen anything like that on the road, and just seems. I think other people are picking up that it's a big house. It's a really big house, and the I feel like it should give up on the owner should give up on the ADUs above the garage. I think otherwise everything's pretty well back, but the garage is really right there, and that's it.
Thank you. Yes?
Hi, my name's Brendan Johnson. I live at 520 Wayside Road, so right across the street on the upper side of the hill. Me and my wife have concerns related to the ADU as well. I believe, according to the plans, that the roof will be facing our house and it's made out of metal, so I'm not sure how reflective it will be. There's possibly solar panels on that. I'm not an architecture or not an architect by any means, but we do have concerns there. The other piece is that we own 3 lots that are adjacent to each other. There's a small driveway in the middle of them. And when there's large projects, they happen to be used by the construction companies that are doing projects around there. PG&E did a big project a couple of years ago, tore up our entire driveway. Luckily, we had evidence before and after, and we submitted a claim, and we were able to get it funded to get repaired. But I'm almost certain that this would happen, with a bunch of different construction workers, some who might not be aware of the driveway and the surroundings. So those are my 2 biggest concerns. I was surprised, as Gary mentioned, when I saw the story poles go up. Part of me, again, I met Michael, seems like a great guy. I'd love for him to be a neighbor as well. But it's a big house for the street, and I do have concerns as well. As we live on a private road, Gary manages it. We spent a lot of our own private money to fix up the road 2 years ago, maybe. And I'm fairly certain a project of this scope with the construction crews going up there would pretty heavily damage the road, and we'd have to go through another round of funding to fix that. So those are my concerns.
Thank you.
Susan Nightingale. So Gary and I have managed the maintenance district for quite a while now. And I think, you all hit on it exactly what we were feeling, because was said over and over again, well, this was approved. This is approved. But if you looked at those 2 sketches, oh my God, the one on the left, the approved one, actually fits the site. But this one is massive. It's dense. It doesn't feel appropriate for the road. And and we did speak at the site about water drainage and how the road, it's narrow at that spot. It's a 1-lane road anyway, but it is very narrow, and all the traffic going up and down besides the construction, but just, it's, those are our concerns.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Come on.
There was just another piece of it. In addition to the new size there, it moved. It's a lot closer to the road than it was when it was approved the first time because of the PG&E easement. I guess the original approval was more under those wires, and it just kind of took it back off the road a little bit. But it's currently, that was a really good point. It's just really right on top of the road. Within a few feet, it seems. And I know there are easements and setbacks and things that this doesn't look like it's meeting. So I wanted to just bring that up. The location of the project moved uphill. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments in the room from? So would you like to answer some of these, or would you like to address some things?
Some of these issues. First of all,
But hang on, let me just make sure that there are no public comments online.
Not online.
Not online. Okay, so, but I'm not necessarily going to shut down public comment. I'm just going to let
Excuse
you
me.
respond for a minute.
Sorry, a hand just got raised online. So there's a speaker.
I'm
I think
sorry,
it just
so
took
can
him a
you wait a
second.
minute?
So I see JJ online and I'll allow you to talk if you can unmute yourself.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is Jen. I was just calling, just wanted to comment too. One of my concerns is where that house is. It is right across from the emergency road. So I am a little concerned about the blockage and how long construction will be blocking that, because in past construction, we've had Upper Wayside has that emergency road exit, Lower Wayside is able to go, lower. But with construction right there, that's blocking all of Upper Wayside from any access down. So that's just my comment of concern.
Thank you. The emergency road was across the street. Okay, all right. Okay. All right, thank you. So are there any other comments online?
No more online.
Okay, so go ahead with your response or your comments.
Sure. Thank you very much for this opportunity for me to speak. And as a owner, I purchased this property 18 months ago from the previous owner. I understand that he worked on this project for over 4 years. And finally, he had to give up because of the challenges. And so when I purchased it, I had the intention of building my home on this parcel.
Right.
And later, when I spoke with the utility companies, specifically the PG&E, they told me that I have to start from the application from the scratch. Right. And that's probably going to take another 3 to 5. And so I asked my design team, the architect and the soil engineers, the civil engineers, to come up with a way to stay clear from the overhead utility lines. And however, on the other side, it's the geohazard zone, unstable soil. So this entire revision of shifting the side is exactly tucked in between the overhead line easement and also right on the edge of the hazard zone. And there's just no any other locations to shift or to move, period. And now regarding the additions on the second floor, I think the elevations is a little bit deceiving. It looks like a kind of a huge on one side, but in reality, there are only 2 small rooms built on top of the original design rooms down below. Only two small rooms, right? And but if you look at the elevation, it looks like wow, a super mass over the right-hand side, but it's not. But of course, if you add in the ADU on top of the garage, combined together, it looks like a little bit bigger. That's for sure. So personally, I just feel like, we need it. We have 3 people in our home. I just need that extra space for my office. And the purpose of building that ADU was thinking maybe sometimes when my parents or my in-laws come to visit, they have at least a place to stay. And ADU is allowed by the state of California. So we're thinking, and there's really no any other locations for it. So we're thinking just put it on top of the garage. So this is the purpose, and that's why I asked my design team and the architect to come up with a. And this is probably the best thing they came up with. And regarding the traffic, I understand the Wayside Road. I've been there many times in the past 18 months. I understand the Wayside Road is a one-way street. It's pretty narrow, and I just realized that it's emergency. I guess an emergency access right across from my property. And I was talking to a few of the neighbors this afternoon on site. I think it's probably not a big concern because in front of the site, in front of the house, I have a lot of land for either the construction vehicle parking or the turnaround. And, I can even put a sign, on the construction site, no vehicle parking on the other side of the street, or even on the street. I think that can be mitigated.
Yeah, construction staging is going to be tough.
Oh, yeah,
So-
but I do have quite a bit of a space, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, good.
And, Jenny, you want to maybe bring up the site? Oh, okay. Well, when we were there this afternoon, you can see, if you stand on the street looking at the structure, on the left-hand side, that entire flag one, that's all accessible during construction.
Right.
Either for staging or for, construction parking.
Jamie, are you trying to show us something?
I told, I was asking if she could show the site.
Yeah.
And
This.
with the house.
Big.
Literally there, and then there, area,
Yeah, it's all here, this entire area.
yeah, with the story pulls up, it's hard to see that there was a good amount of area. We were able to easily fit our 3 cars, and there would have been more area. Definitely more area. I noticed that, and I noticed the constraints because of the story pool.
All right, thank you. Are your comments?
Yes, one more thing. Entire team actually really done very hard, doing a very good job. Because we worked on it for the last 18 months to come to this point. It's not like we just randomly come up with this idea. It's kind of, it's not like that at all. And as an owner, the homeowner, also I have a huge concern about the scheduling and timing of everything. Because I also talked to a few neighbors, and they also told me that how challenging, how time consuming it is to build a project in Portola Valley or in this neighborhood. And I have a neighbor that started a project 2 years ago and just finished a completion, and now the construction stopped and it's not carrying on any further. And the previous owner took him 4 years to get to the plans approved, and he still couldn't build it because of the PG&E didn't finish the design to relocate the overhead power. And I guess he's already lost a lot of money and decided to sell it. And when I bought it, I was thinking, oh, this is already had a approval plans. So maybe, it'll be easy. And so I purchased it, I contacted PG&E, and they say, no, you have to start from scratch. And it's just, and plus all the site constraints. So it's pretty difficult. Anyway, I'm just hoping there's a chance for me to get this project rolling, and it might take a couple of years, and it's just taken a long time for me to build my home.
Right.
And, it's challenging enough.
All right, but also with,
Also, another point I like to make, quite actually a few of my adjoining neighbors home too. It's so I'm not the only one in this particular neighborhood.
right. But with all due respect, I mean, you started off with a different project and you're trying to bring in a lot of more square footage into the same model.
Well,
So-
I'm not sure it's a brand new project because we proceeded with it as a revision.
Yeah.
And because the original plans, the footprint basically is the same. Just we're just adding a
Right.
partial 2-story, adding 2 small rooms, and
Gotcha.
an AD on top of the garage.
Right,
And because of that, and also some grading changes, that triggers the ASCC review. And
That's
what
right.
we did.
well, it's very different, that's why.
Yeah.
So let's just see what my fellow commissioners have to say. Okay, have we done with public comments? Nothing else is on? Okay, Gina, will you lead off?
Sure. Yeah, well, I think first off, I'll start up and acknowledge this is a really difficult site. You know, you have a substantial amount of grade change, and I can see in the site plan, you know, what you're describing as this kind of band of appropriate soils where it's actually possible to build. So I think, you know, in terms of the siting, obviously there are a lot of limitations that you're dealing with. I do, you know, understanding it's been kind of resubmitted as a revision, I do think, you know, changing the house from a 1-story to a 2-story is a really big deal. And I would also say that, you know, maybe I think it was a disservice to the project to say kind of disregard all else and try to keep it as similar as possible without making changes. But I think it disregards the design guidelines to have that sort of guidance on how the project was going to be changed to, you know, slide the house into a new position and add a 2nd story. And, you know, when I look through the design guidelines and all of the little illustrations, I mean, it's publicly available for anybody to look at, you know, having big gables that are jutting out on top of a ridge, being tall, you know, I understand, yes, you know, for all intents and purposes, the house is underneath the height limits, but the volume feels really large there. And I mean, we could all feel that when we were there because story poles are there. So, you know, let's disregard that maybe the elevations themselves look a little bit distorted because they're two-dimensional and you have these grade changes and things can look a little funky. I completely understand that. But, you know, we were all there experiencing the story poles. So I mean, in my opinion, if I could give some advice for how it might be sort of mitigated a little bit, is actually, I think that you should take a closer look at the finished floor level of the house that you've decided on, and see if there's a way to get that down a little bit lower so that the house can sit down a bit more from where it is. I think if you could even, you know, bring it's at 794, can you get that down to 792 or something to bring that down? I think that would help a lot and kind of bringing your volume down a little bit. And I would also encourage you to just consider the neighbor feedback on the ADU. Obviously, we can't comment on that, you know, that's outside of purview. But for the house itself, I think that would be sort of my main advice, because I do, you know, I look at this and, you know, you're not able to really, you know, slide it down the hill. I mean, you're working within a really heavy set of constraints here. So I don't know if that's helpful or not, but.
I think my comments will echo pretty much along with Gina's, that it is massive when you stand there relative to the rest of the neighborhood. It will dwarf and it will be oppressive as you drive up to people. If you could figure out how to bring your floor down, that could help mitigate. But you just have this huge, massive 29-foot nearly street. And there's really, I mean, there's not a lot of architectural aesthetics there in the driveway. Looking at this proposed, if I'm looking on your architectural, Jamie, that proposed ADU elevation, it's just a big, massive wall. And it doesn't really fit the neighborhood and it doesn't really fit our guidelines and it doesn't really fit. It's such a leap from where the prior approved project was. It does really change the character of that stretch of road for anybody who can see it. And I do think it will impact the neighbors' views and their enjoyment of the area as well. So I would encourage you to try to see if you can drop it down, bring it down. I mean, if you have to do the ADU, you have to do the ADU. But as I said earlier, just because we can doesn't mean that it's a great idea.
I have similar feelings and concern as the rest of the commissioners. It's just the scale and the mask and it's so bulky. When you say that it's same as to the prior, just having similar footprint doesn't make it to be same project because architecturally three-dimensional, so the whole look and feel changed. And I was just curious, given the soil issues, is it possible to take the part of the house that is underneath the PG&E poles, if that can be lowered and the PG&E poles can go above it and over time you can have them removed, like stepping down, even, again, I don't know about the soil issue, just as an idea to explore, even if the rooms are halfway, they are great, beautiful constructions that can be done where the windows start at the dirt level. And then this way you broke the big bulk of the house, and plus also you could still put the house underneath those wires and eventually the wires can go with the PG. Just an idea. I don't know the detail of the soil.
Heather? Okay. Listening to everybody also, I mean, I can't support the project right now as it was submitted. And I think it needs to be reduced, the size. And yet I know that you're under the numbers. I just think that you're going to need to massage the way it looks, the way it presents. And I don't know how you're going to do that. So, I mean, let's talk about what are their options here. I mean, in terms of an approval, we're going to have a conditional approval, or do they come back?
You may vote to approve, deny, or continue the hearing.
I mean, you guys all seem to think it needs some massaging. I mean,
Well, I sort of lean toward continuing.
continuing, yeah, I think we need to,
Definitely not.
I think this needs to come back.
I could support continuance and see if,
What?
could support continuance to see if there's some. Frank maybe has a rabbit in his hat. He can massage something or.
Architect?
Don't want to put you on the spot. Don't get up. That's fine, but it's,
I mean, is there more work that you can do on this Sorry, I don't know your name. I'm Frank. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Can please. Okay.
Microphone, please.
So in directing your comments about massing, there's an opportunity to reduce this about 2 feet. So we can
Yes.
do the plate heights at 8 feet. And that'll do, I know it's substandard to what you'd see in a new home. So in kind of being in between everything, we could, as an option, take the first floor down to 8 as opposed to 9. And then if we did it upstairs, we can get 2 feet off of the building. Red Lance, you talk about 2 feet. And then, sir, comment to you, the PV cells are in front. You wouldn't see them. That's in front of the home. Yeah, we didn't design this from scratch. I wish I was presenting something, but
So you see potential for lowering?
yeah, there's a
Good.
solution there where perhaps we could request approval based on the condition that we by 2 feet perhaps. That would be,
No, I think we should continue. I mean, but I'll let what you guys, does anyone have a motion? Anyone have a direction in which you think we should head?
We should continue, but not this condition of 2 feet. I think it's too precise. We should continue the
We
design.
need to see this. This
I-
needs to come back.
Yeah, I think, y- y- I don't think there's necessarily a magic number, but I do think, if we're asking the question about how the design guidelines were taken into consideration with the massing and the volume of the house, I'd like there to be an answer, that's related to specifics of the design guideline. My sense is, yes, there's some lowering that needs to happen, whether that's the finished floor level itself and modifying that versus altering roof lines or looking at how the building is laid out or massed. I don't know what that is. I think that's for you guys to explore, but I think.
And the neighborhood is so completely different. I mean, I think you need to work with, the area and where this is happening. I mean, this is a funky hood. So, I mean, which I love. So, I mean,
Yeah. Frank, I don't want to limit to 2 feet. I just was kind of saying if we bring it down,
Yeah.
if we could do that,
Yeah.
you have far more hours looking at it than I've had in the 48 hours that I was allowed to look at it. But maybe there's some other design thing you could look at that could keep the bulk of the work, but still kind of accommodate trying to reduce that mass that we see on the street of the ADU elevation that you're presenting in the drawings.
Yeah, we want to be efficient with everybody here, and I think it's really hovering around what I'm hearing is it's this question about the garage. So there seems to be some opposition about the ADU above it. And just because you're allowed to do it, we didn't do a 2-bedroom, 1,200 square foot ADU, a very modest 1-bedroom studio for his parents and so forth. But it sounds like the option would be to omit the ADU, which would, I think, be aligned with your guys' opinion. But in terms of our clients' requirements, I don't know if that's going to be towards, your scope of work. I'm in the middle
Well,
here.
we're
so
not,
they
we're
don't
not,
want
we're not
ADU.
commenting on that anyway.
no.
That's
No.
the
No.
ADU is not part of this hearing or up for discussion.
Massing is being central around that portion of the building.
I think if
No, that's not what I hear. Those are just general comments from people.
Yeah, so
Jamie, pull up architectural 3.1.
But if I just to add, it's not the ADU, it's the total mass that's a concern. AD just might add to it, but even without the ADU, it's still one block of 2-story. Before it was more smoother, we are just asking it not to be a big box.
yeah, so
When
it was the same home that we worked on, and the ADU was added above the garage, and that's right there at the street. So perhaps there's room to locate the ADU in the back of the master or something.
If you could focus on details 1 and 2.
Yes.
I
ma'am.
look at the drawing,
Which one?
most of the house, there's line on the top, and you could have sort of broken the top lines by going down.
I want
little
to
bit.
understand you very thoroughly. Could we go back to one of the images? Can you be specific?
I'm just trying to understand where these are ideas, again, like, I forget your name. Larry.
Lance.
Let's go
We
back to
haven't
an
spent the
image.
time and we don't know the soil as depth that you do. But my suggestion is the concern about why you had to move the whole property to this side because of the PG&E wires.
Could we focus on that one right there? Thank you, because there's a lot of things, a lot of conversation in that one. Could we go to a site plan, please, Jamie?
But we're not going to redesign
Yeah.
here now. I mean.
Yeah, I want to
that's-
answer her question.
Okay.
Because there's been a couple of comments that I don't think were accurate. Couldn't we go back to the enlarged site plan, please?
As Dana said, the intention is not to redesign, it's just to help you start looking at things.
Well, I
more
mean, you
than-
guys need to take this
Yeah.
and go back and study it and work with it some more. So, I think we should not be looking at colors and things like that now. So,
Can you go, I just want to
yes,
diagram, the garage and the 80 and the previously approved carport and the proposed garage, I think are about 6 or 7 inches off. So the garage is the same location. The building no longer is parallel to the PG&E easement. It's been skewed, which it's right now. So from the street, you're going to see more of the trees. Before, when the building was underneath, you can see it more. So now it's a little bit more hidden. The building.
Sir, can we ask you to stay at the mic so people online can hear you?
So it's just been angled a tad bit, like 15 degrees to the left, where we can't move this thing anywhere. It's the gray is the geotechnical areas. So I hear you. We can't solve this here
no, and
tonight.
it's up to you guys to take it now and.
It's the
and
second story that concerns most
redesign.
of us.
And the
Yeah.
one thing that I was still trying to say is also I was concerned about the amount of tree removal. So I want you to think about that as you're going back into the design situation about the removal of trees.
So
Pardon? Yes, I mean, quickly.
Regarding the tree removal, actually, compare this new version compared to the previous one, actually it come out to be just a wash. We saved 2 trees from this relocation and have to remove 2 more trees. Actually, 1 more tree, an oak tree, but the conservation panel, and the other 2 person.
Correct.
They checked all the trees and they also recommend that anyway, because it's outdated.
Thank you.
So we are now really taking out more trees than before.
Okay.
That's kind of the answer to your concern. And about the power line, you cannot build a house under the power.
that's what's causing all of this, is to relocate it so we can
Yeah,
begin
you cannot
construction.
do that. Yeah. And again, one more thing I'd like to point out. This afternoon, when we were standing on site, we were standing on the low ground, looking up. And when we look up, what's the most prominent story pole? Is that 2-story long? And it seems like that's all we saw, and it seems like faulty.
Right.
We kind of we forget that the majority of the house is beyond that. Actually, the 2nd-story portion footprint of it is much smaller than the 1-story portion. And I wish if there's a way, if there were a way to turn this entire footprint 180 degrees the other way around, the 2-story would be hidden behind, and from the street side, you only see 1 story.
Well, then you guys will work on that. But
Yeah,
right
this is-
now, our decision is that we should have a continuance on this project.
But I'm just saying the fall is gonna be seen, I understand from the low ground.
We look at a lot of houses. We know how to look at houses.
The 2nd-story is only like
Okay.
plus story.
Okay.
It's not like a big map.
So do we need to have a motion for a continuance or?
Yes, I think you move to continue the hearing and you could move it to a date certain. And then we don't have to renotice the meeting, or if you don't decide on a meeting date tonight, for example, if the applicant needs time, or we can work with them to decide on the date and then we would renotice again for this coming back to ASCC.
It sounds like you're going to have to spend some time figuring things out. So I'm not sure we can set a date, or should we? No,
I don't know. I
an
mean,
open
it
continuance,
just feels.
and you guys will. All right, so can someone make a motion for a continuance?
Sure. I'll do a motion for continuance for
Okay.
undisclosed future dates.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and so the staff will work with you about when you will come back and we'll see this again.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck. Okay. Now,
Minutes from prior meeting.
yep. Pardon? We're all gonna talk. Can you guys take your conversation outside, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. What? We do have minutes. Yeah, and I think you want to talk to us, don't you? Do you have a report?
I don't have a specific report out right now, just because we just had the joint ASCC and Planning Commission meeting last week. So I did a quick report out, but I could do a reminder that the draft safety element is still open for public review and open for public comment. So the draft element is online and there's a comment form online where people can provide feedback that way. So that will be open through the end of June, June 30th. And then we will have a bit more of an updated schedule, but we'll provide that and update the website as needed as well. But the plan as of now is to have this public review period for the draft safety element till the end of the month, evaluate comments, and then set kind of a new schedule date where we would go back to Planning Commission for another study session and then Town Council. And then after going through those two meetings, we would then distribute the draft document to external agencies for review. So that is sort of, I know we're talking about an updated schedule, but we'll be updating the website and providing additional information on that. It just sort of depends on public comment we receive and how much time we need to evaluate that before coming back to Planning Commission.
Public comment coming in?
There's some public comment coming in, and there was a request to post the public comment. I think we could compile what we've been getting, but it's already almost 8 days away at the end of the month, and we will be posting the public comment on the website.
No, I'm glad that they're coming in. Okay, goody.
Otherwise, I don't have any other updates.
So, minutes. Everyone look at the minutes. Does anyone have a motion?
They're pretty basic. I'll
Yeah.
move to approve them.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You have a out?
I'm out because I wasn't here last.
Right, right. So we'll move to adjourn. Yes?
Move to adjourn.
Okay. Go, Mayor.